Hello, and today we'll be playing Gnoll Way Home. I don't know anything about this game. It came out in January of this year. So just gonna go ahead and start it now. I'm such an idiot. That's the first thing that comes to mind as I find myself facing oblivion. It's so empty, so cold. There's just nothing forever. Is this what it's always going to be like? There really isn't anything that comes after. Well, at least I can hear myself think. Wait, that's not a good thing, is it? Just alone with my thoughts for eternity. Now this is hell. Please wake up. Oh, thank goodness. You can't do this. The voice pleads tearfully, breaking and trembling. He sounds hoarse from sobbing. I don't recognize him, but he's my only lifeline to the world of the living. Please. I feel like I'm being pulled towards him when he speaks something somewhere far, far away. Compared to this vast emptiness, it feels like a whole other world. You can't leave me. I feel a deep pang of compassion for whoever this is. And I don't want to leave either. I'm not ready to go. But what can I do? I focus with all my might, trying to do something, anything to show that I'm here. With all the effort I can muster, I manage to pry my eyes open just a sliver. Just enough for a blurry, unfocused glimpse of him. He gasps, eyes shining and full of tears. I feel his grip on me tighten. As I lay eyes upon him, I feel a deep longing that I can't fully explain. I don't know who he is, but he's so gentle, so tender. I feel him clutch my hand, telling me everything's going to be okay. I can barely make out what he's saying, but just hearing his voice is soothing. I try to respond to him, but all that comes out is a weak, breathy gasp. Save your strength, just stay here with me, please. You'll get better, you will. We'll go back to the village. We'll rest. We'll have soup. I have no idea what he's talking about. Does he know me? This feels wrong. His voice breaks as his tears return. It's not fair. I can't help but agree. I want to console him. I want to tell him not to cry. I don't even know him, but it's obvious how much pain he's in. I want to stay here with him. Why do I feel this way? He's a complete stranger. I can't think straight. My eyes fall shut. I just can't keep him open any longer. Darkness proclaims me as I hear his panic shouting. No, you need to stay awake. But I can't respond. I can't stay with him. The world goes quiet. I feel time slip away from me. Damp falls upon my body. A soft warmth caresses me, but then it's gone. Chill sets in, bitter and biting. Pressure around my limbs, around my throat. Dragging, the smell of noxious chemical fumes. Soft muttering, chanting. It's 2 months, and then nothing. You are in the forest, a deep one, hazy and hard to place. Colors you've never seen before shimmer through the air. It hurts to look at them. The trees around you bend and sway in ways that don't feel natural. They bow to form archways leading you on your path. You follow the trail, unsure and unsteady, but driven by duty. You have to find him. In clearing you emerge into looks unfamiliar. Your path becomes less certain. Unsettling lights of those same unets of those same unusual colors flicker and dance in the canopy above, lighting your way in place of stars. There's underbrush silts and crowds around you, making you feel surrounded. Quickening your pace, you feel pricks of pain as the dense brambles slice at you in your haste. Unearthly sounds warble through the dense tangle that envelops you. Whatever lives down here can't be friendly. You feel your heart racing in your chest. You could be in danger. A particularly overgrown piece of vegetation looms menacingly before you. With your vision blurring, its shape resembles that of a towering beast. Your breath catches in your throat, afraid to make a sound. Pinpricks of illumination from the ghostly lights above shine through it. Or are those eyes? It tilts and turns as you approach. Or was it always facing that way? You can't tell. A howling wind passes through. The trees shake like the rattle of bones. It's not safe here. You run. But not far. The undergrowth trips you up. It feels as if it lashes out and it snares your feet, breaking you low so you can't escape. You feel the wind not from your lungs as you land hard. Something's wrapped around you, preventing you from reclaiming in the air. Looking up, you've met with dozens of eyes sprouting from the thick, tangled brush that coats the ground. They stare at you, unblinking. They know you're not meant to be here. You're too slow. It's too stupid. They've just been waiting for you to fall. You feel the roots that surround you tug you slowly down to the earth. They suffocate you, wringing the air from your lungs and the life from your body. The more you struggle, the tighter they bind you. As they close in above you to seal you in this grisly casket of vegetation, the last thing you see before they fully block out the lights of those eyes staring down at you. I bolt awake, lost myself upright in a cold sweat and gasping for air. I'm alive? Probably. Okay, that's a start. I try to get my breathing under control. That nightmare was really intense. Looking around, I strain my eyes to get a good measure of my surroundings. It seems like some kind of hut, from the sounds of birdsong outside. It's out in the wilderness, maybe, with unfinished walls and thatched roofing above, and all manner of simple tools and containers scattered about. Light streams in from behind a curtain opening, illuminating some kind of kitchen or workshop above, along the far wall. Breathing in, I feel the harsh sting of chemical fumes in my lungs, but it feels like I've been suffused in it for quite a while already. I must have been here for how long? As my blurry eyes scan back across the room, I'm startled when I notice a figure slowly creeping up from the shadows. The figure scampers closer with frightening haste. The greasy-looking beast eyes me curiously as I gasp and scoot back against the wall behind me. This proximity brings with it a potent musk that stings my eyes, the scent of unwashed animal mixed with strange herbal aromas. He wheezes out a raspy noise before speaking in a scratchy old voice that makes my skin crawl. It rises. My eyes widen as I realize this creature is actually addressing me. And I can understand it. Tell me your name, lad. His tone is friendly. We're as close to it as he can manage, given how terrifying his voice is. But do I really trust him so readily? I'm not sure what to tell him. Plover. The creature's ears fall as he frowns at my response. At the same time, I hear a shuffling behind him, while the curtains dimming the light for the building's entryway is pushed aside. There he stands, looking at me with a fearsome glower that makes my stomach stop or drop. The old beast crowding me turns to greet him with a welcoming smile. There you are, lad. Did he get thee? He's silenced by a withering glance and palpable tension. The younger beast strides past his elder to approach me. It's him, the one I dreamed of, but he looks so cold and distant now, like the light has gone out in his eyes. All that remains is a smoldering bitterness that flickers into disgust as he looks at me. I'm so wrapped up in studying his expression that I don't notice what he's doing until his hands are around my throat. I reflexively reach out to stop him, but after hearing a brief snap behind me, my hands go limp. I slump back down, unable to move my body no matter how much I try. I gasp and stammer inside, my voice deeper than I expect. What? Less speechless before these beasts, I feel myself starting to panic. As I gasp for air, I realize I can still move my head at least. What do you do? The smaller beast squelches up his nose and discusses a plea for information. He reaches for a strange leather cord that's strapped around his wrist and tugs at it to ensure it's secured tightly. The older beast finally returns to my side, looking down over me. I know a demon collar, lad. Do what you think. Of course I do, Opa. He can't be trusted. You know that. The vitriol in his bark momentarily makes me believe that he isn't focused on me for the moment. Though now I feel bad for the ragged old beast he's settling down. He's gone, Opa. That thing killed him, and now it's puppeting him around like a parasite. We don't know that, Taff. Not for sure. Taff and Opa, so they have names? Are they talking about me? I managed to crane my neck downward, unable to move a single muscle beneath it. What I see down below is difficult to swallow. My entire body is covered in thick, saggy fur, ruddy shades of brown that drift into a lighter, creamier blend toward my underbelly, where a simple and tattered loincloth covers my nethers. Thick, powerful muscles adorn my arms and legs. They give way to rather large paws, each complete with a full set of dark, leathery paw pads. The toned physique continues across my chest. Those bulging pectorals look at odds with the rather sizable, hairy gut further down my abdomen. So I gape at this form. I realize my face must look similarly hairy and savage. It's strange that with such a powerful, bestial body, I still feel so weak and helpless right now. Twice I might. I can't move anything below my neck. Is this the work of that collar they mentioned? Please, I don't understand. They both turned to look at me, Taff wincing at the sound of my voice. Rest now, lad. Taff suits the larger Gnoll, a smoldering glare before Opa turns to address me. He's no longer to us now, lad. Let him get his bearings. He's no danger to us now, lad. Let him get his bearings. The boy looks back at me, appraising the fear in my eyes before grumbling, and reaches to loosen the cord around his wrist slightly. As he does, I feel command of my body slowly return to me. I gasp and reach up for my throat, confirming the collar's presence. But as I do, my stomach drops. I get the distinct feeling that messing with it isn't going to end well. Get him up and ready. I want to make it back before dusk. The younger beast departs in a huff, leaving a tumultuous silence in his wake. The older beast sighs and he rats his tail apart before returning his gaze back to me. Sorry about that. Plover, was it? Yeah. He pokes out noticeably at my reply. I'm still not sure how much I can trust him, but he seems to be forthcoming. There's a million questions I want answered, and I stumble over them, trying to get one out. Where am I? And why am I? I point down and gesture to myself, hoping that gets the message across. Opal looks me over, sighing to himself. You're safe for now, lad. But you're not you anymore. This is a very helpful explanation. I grow a little frustrated as I try to push for a more digestible answer. Then what exactly am I? The old beast shrugs. Demon. That word makes my heart sink into my stomach. Demon? What do you mean? His gaze grows distant as he feels the answer. Hungry. The old beast turns away from me, hobbling over to the workshop-looking area on the far side of the hut. Sir, feed you. He mutters to himself, seemingly like he's lost in a daze. I still have questions, even more now, in fact, but I don't know how much I'm going to get out of him. I might as well try to get up now that I can. Climbing to my feet, I find myself a bit unbalanced as my heavy gut floats down and exhausts before me. This body is weighted a bit differently than I anticipated. I take a few unsteady steps. My feet feel like they bend backwards at first, but my body seems to remember how it's supposed to walk on its own as long as I'm not thinking about it too hard. I feel an added weight behind me and look over my shoulder to see a saggy tail emerging and curling up to support the loincloth tied around my waist. Boil in. 3-6. I turn my attention back to the old beast, mumbling to himself. I approach slowly, peering over at what he's doing. He's slowly stewing at a pot of anonymously opaque slop, humming to himself in a grumbly tone. I feel the fur prickle on the back of my neck. What are you making there? My inquiry seems to snap him back to attention, and he gazes down to survey his handiwork. Meal. He acquires a rough-looking pseudo spoon and ladles some sort of thick, greenish paste into an empty bowl before turning and offering it to me. No, I'm not. A low grumble interrupts me. My stomach protests as I get a whiff of the stuff. Though the thick fog of strange herbs still hangs heavy in this place, my nose manages to signal this out as something edible at the very least, and I imagine it's been a while since I've eaten anything. Looking at his expectant expression, it's hard to refuse. I imagine it's been a while since I've eaten anything. Looking at his expectant expression, it's hard to refuse. Tenderly, I take the bowl and the implement that's now stuck fast in the offered slop. This is not going in me. I can see him squinting as he tries to survey my reaction, so I decide to take a gamble on his poor eyesight. Pretending to scarf down the meal, I end up making overwrought, lip-smacking, and swallowing sounds to sell how much I'm enjoying it, like I'm entertaining a child at a tea party. He seems pleased by this, relieved in fact. I can see the tension melt away when the old beast lets his shoulders drop down a bit. I try to refocus the old timer now that I've been fed, discreetly discarding the bowl nearby. Already I feel my stomach growing resentful at such waste. Thank you. Very kind of you to feed a demon. He gives a soft, wheezy chuckle as he responds. Demons are people too, at least I think so. I've also considered how to gingerly pry some answers for you without sewing my hand. I don't know a damn thing about this place, these people, or anything really. And just coming out and saying that would be suspicious, right? Let's try and cover the basis at least. And if I'm a demon, then you guys are. Knows. I don't suppose you have many where you come from. His tone becomes more cheerful as I keep up this line of questioning. Where is it you think I'm from exactly? Hell, of course. Right, of course. And what do you know of hell? It's a realm mirrored in sin and cruelty, burning away while its people toil in endless misery. Well, that sounds about right. So how did I get here? He tilts his head, pausing in a moment of confusion. Wasn't that your thing? You possess young Gas here. Gas? Well, that's a hell of a name. I didn't intend to. Is that so? Well, it's not unheard of. Oh? So there may be others like me out there. It used to happen more often, but nowadays the Empire puts demons to the stake as soon as they hear word of them. Sends them back to hell where they came from. Not what I want to hear right now. Isn't that a bit severe? I say so, but frightened people take drastic measures. Am I really so scary? He looks me over, chuckling heartily. Not as you are now, but without color, you might end up like the others. The callous disregard for life, the unspeakable power they wield, the wanton destruction they sow. They treat our world like a game. At least that's what the Empire says. I quit since I imagine the sorts of demons that end up getting sent here. I'm nothing like that, I assure you. And the collar assures that. I whip out the collar as he mentioned it, and I get that prickly feeling of doom again when I consider tripping to whip it, when I consider trying to whip it off. What does it do exactly? It keeps you from lashing out. Even considering hypothetically raising a fist makes me feel a bit woozy, like that strange paralysis I suffer will come flooding back if I try. This is a lot to take in, I add. This must be rough. Before I realize it, his paw is on my shoulder. It's more comforting than I expected. I can feel his warmth, and it unravels a bit of the tension that's been building within me. I take a deep breath, trying to get my head straight, and that's when I notice his smell again. Breathing in through my nose gives me a powerful dose of him. It's not so overwhelming this time, now that I'm a bit more used to it. I close my eyes and focus on parsing it. It's like unraveling individual threads of aroma from a big ball of funk. There's a strong earthy smell at the core, clearly his natural musk. But surrounding it are some familiar strands of herbal aromas. Lavender, rosemary, vanilla, mint, sage, and quite a few more I don't recognize. And beyond that, I can smell how they are layered and the patterns they weave. I don't really have the language to describe it. It all combines together to form a completely textured, distinct smell. I almost feel like I could pick it out of a crowd if I focus on it. When I open my eyes again, I see the old Gnoll, much closer now, leaning up to sniff that broad snout of his at my neck. It's only now I realize how much smaller than me he is, standing at least 2 heads shorter. He looked so big when I first woke up. But more importantly, he's just blazingly sniffing me. I pull away a bit, feeling myself blush, but I hope I've got enough fur to hide it. He chuckles softly, sighing to himself before he speaks up. I expected brimstone. I realize he must have a pretty sensitive nose as well, then. It must be a no thing. Instead, you just smell like him, but different. That's not very descriptive, but I suppose I'd be hard pressed to succinctly describe Opa's particular smell. Our moment is interrupted by a dramatic clearing of the throat from outside. You best not keep him away, lad. I take a deep breath and prepare myself. Hopefully he's had enough time to cool down a bit. The cool, shaded confines of Opa's hut give way to hot, humid air outside. The surrounding greenery is dense and wicked looking. Most of the plant life looks close to something I recognize, but just different enough to leave me feeling a bit disoriented. Calf leans against the side of the hut. I realize how he was probably close enough to hear our entire conversation. He does look like he's calmed down a bit, but seeing me puts him right back in that foul mood. It hurts to see him like this, after he was so gentle in my dream. Wait, was that even a dream? What are you gawping at? My heart catches in my throat. I'm pretty sure anything I say is just going to upset him even more, but leaving him hanging doesn't feel right either. I'm sorry. He seems legitimately surprised by the apology, but quickly tries to hide it after his initial reaction. I'm not really sure what's going on, but it seems like I'm to blame for this, so you're damn right you are. I find myself growling a bit in frustration. Look, I don't know what happened, but I want to help. He takes a step forward and thrusts a figure up towards me. He's even smaller than Opa, barely more than half my size. I know what you're up to, demon. Your tricks won't work on me. I'm speechless. You're going to do everything I say until we fix this. And how do we do that? By getting gas back and sending you back to hell where you belong. That stings, but I can't really argue. If me just being here is displacing someone else, maybe that's for the best. Okay, yeah, I owe you that much. He squints at me, as if trying to scan for signs of deception. Just take it easy, okay? I hate seeing you this way. How dare... Dav and I both pivot in time to see Opa emerge to join us. Something's missing. Sorry then. All of Todd's consternation melts away as he's left stammering and averting his gaze from Geezer junk. But your clothes. I can't help but stare dumbfounded. Oh, it's pretty toasty out today. No need to bundle up. Just from Todd's reaction, he seems accustomed to a bit more modesty than this. But you were just dressed. Opa waves a paw dismissively. Boy, you spent 2 months time in the Empire, but if you insist, I'll bring the old wags along for the journey. Todd cautiously turns back around, trying not to gaze at geriatric no gonads. What do you mean? We'll be going with you, lad. Me and the boy have been meaning to make a trip into town anyway. Speaking of which, the old Gnoll looks around, squinting again as he struggles to make out his surroundings. Where is he? He went to dump his gate after we got out of the womb wood. At this point, I have no idea what they're talking about. Could you be a dear fix him for me then? You know how prone he is to distraction. Todd groans and takes a deep breath, looking between the two of us before at last relenting. Fine, and then straight to the village. Be ready when we get back. He sets off, in a huff again, starting to make a habit of it. I turn to look at Opa in concern, noticing a smirk on his face as he catches my gaze, wondering. But soon I feel that prickling at my neck again, getting more intense the further away Todd gets from me. Hurriedly, I hustle the catch up to him, nearly stumbling as I struggle with these big, dumb paws. The sensation fades as I get closer. Tiny leather strap on his wrist he was messing with earlier. Must be the least to my collar. Looking it over, I figured he could probably give me some more slack if he unwounded it a little bit more. But I don't think asking for that would go over too well right now. Heading into the forest, we travel in silence for a while. Now that I actually have some time to think, my mind wanders to thoughts of escape. Can I really shake him? Getting too far from the lead seems to activate my collar, and trying to remove it myself or forcing him to would probably drop me too. I could try diplomacy or deception, but that's what he's already anticipating. He's so convinced I'm some sort of demonic trickster that'll go on a rampage the second I'm off his leash. I probably just, well, I don't know what I do. I don't know anything about this place. I don't have anyone or anywhere I can go to. I'm on my own, really. Same as him now. My thoughts keep circling back to that point. He's alone because he lost someone important, and I'm the cause of that. Should I really even be thinking about escape? Shouldn't I be trying to make things right? If we can get the other guy back, then I don't know what will happen to me. Apparently, my anxious thoughts have been manifesting as audible whining. I don't realize this until I spot his ears swiveling back towards me, accompanied by a soft, agitated growl. I steel myself to try and stay silent. Hopefully, some peace and quiet will improve his mood. Then I can probe for more information when he's not so grouchy. I have to admit, I'm feeling a good bit better myself out here in the fresh air. This forest just smells so lively, way better than being cooped up back in open sack. I do my best to survey the sights and sounds of the deep greenery, trying to build a mental map of the place. But there's just too much to take in. I get lost on my own for sure. Hopefully Tav knows where we're going. As we pass by a tranquil stream, I chance a glance across to the other side, noticing that the rich, verdant greens of the forest begin to fade to strange violet hues. For a moment, I think I can see something move over there. As I squint to get a better look, a strange tightness builds in my chest. This feels familiar. It feels wrong. That color. Could it be that place? The fur stands up on the back of my neck, and I feel that tightness escalate into a palpable sensation of dread. A sharp whistle draws my attention back to the trail, and I realize I'm not out of leash range. A sharp whistle draws my attention back to the trail, and I realize I'm nearly out of leash range. I steal one last look back at the stream. Back across the stream, there's nothing there, but that ominous feeling remains. I shake my head to clear it, hustling to catch back up. Things are significantly more normal back on this side of the stream. I see glimpses of small critters in the bushes and trees now and then. They look familiar enough, at least. When I make an effort to breathe through my nose, an absolute cavalcade of which sense overtakes me. Every plant, every animal, even the paths and streams, they all smell unique. I feel familiarity with some of them, my brain dredging up simple associations like tasty, yucky, danger, or fun for some. It's like I'm digging into this body's sick memory. The most familiar smell of all, though, is his. I take a deep whiff when a breeze casts me downwind of him, better understanding the nuances of the fragments I'd smelled before. I can almost feel his name on my lips when I smell him. It makes me excited, like a pet reunited with its handler after a long absence. It's hard to describe, but he smells much fresher than Opa. Maybe that's a factor of age. Or maybe he's just actually bathed. Whereas the older Gnoll's scent was layered with fermenting herbs, Taos feels closer to nature. I can smell the wind upon him, the gentle breeze after it wanes. A little bit of fruit, I think, and a hint of flowers. It's comforting. I nearly won him over without realizing he stopped, but I catch myself just in time. He's looking up at a tree whose branches hang over us, scrutinizing a cluster of fruits upon it. I can already smell how delicious they are, so without even thinking, I reach out to grasp an overhanging branch to bring it lower. When I look back, he's withdrawn a leather-bound journal from somewhere and appears to be taking notes, and its claw coated in ink and moving with impressive precision. So they do grow on the side. He plucks one of the strange crimson pear-shaped fruits from the lower branch, studies the shape briefly, and produces a rough sketch of it in his journal. I grab one as well before releasing the branch. Do you catalog plants? Not just plants, everything I can, really. They had countless books like this back in the Empire. The wealthy even had entire rooms for storing and reading them. But the gnolls out here don't have that luxury. They pass everything by maw, so it's easy for knowledge to get lost or broken over time. He seems to be frustrated with his sketch, scribbling over it and clapping the journal set to put away. I guess I really shouldn't bother. It's not like this is going to help anyone. That dejected look of his compels me to find a way to distract him from such dour thoughts. So, these are safe to eat then? My nose is telling me, yes, absolutely. What are you waiting for? But I want to make sure just in case. Of course, everything's fine for a no. I find myself already biting into this surprisingly tender morsel before I can respond, savoring its intense flavors, very acidic, with a good mix of sweet and bitter. What do you mean? Gnolls can eat anything. You really don't know this stuff? I try to take offense at that, but I know I must look pretty dumb right now with how greedily I'm gulping down this delicious fruit, feeling its juices drooling down my muzzle. Like, anything? He rolls his eyes and starts walking again as he explains further. We have to hurriedly gather up an armful of bonus fruits for the road before he gets out of range. Anything we can swallow, yeah. It's our gift or whatever. Hard to starve that way. Can't get sick from most things either. I hurry after him, dipping my muzzle down to munch on the armful of fruits I cradle as I digest this information. That sounds like quite the gift, I guess, but even that gets turned against us. Trash eaters, scabs, bottom feeders, people can be pretty cruel. He sounds particularly hurt by those words as he repeats them, looking as if he's dredging up some painful memories. Sounds to me like they're jealous. Cal shrugs, trying to let it go. Whatever, they don't matter anymore. We got out of the city to get away from all that. Me and Gas. I bite my lip, realizing I've wandered back into uncomfortable territory for him. Why do things have to turn out like this? This isn't what I wanted. I hate this awkward silence. Maybe it would be better to lean into this rather than tiptoe around it. Hey, we'll get him back, alright? He takes a deep breath before responding, sounding worn down. Just stop it, okay? I know you don't actually care. You don't need to pretend for my sake. His words sting, but maybe he has a point. Even though I feel responsible for what happened with Gas, Tav is the one I'm more worried about. Maybe it's just because he's the one right in front of me. It's harder to feel for someone I never even met. Man, why am I devoting so much energy to trying to make him feel better anyway? It would be a stretch to expect him to be thankful, given the state of things, but he could at least be civil. He probably hasn't even once stopped to think about things from my perspective. I didn't ask for this to happen, and if we do manage to get Gas back, then that means The thought drops my heart into my stomach, so I shake my head and try to change the subject. So, who's this boy we're looking for anyway? Oba's kid. Our little guy out exploring on his own. He's grown, almost as old as us. Help me drag you back to Oba's after you arrived. I look down at the smaller Gnoll. Yeah, Tav definitely wouldn't be able to pull that off on his own. I feel my ears stand up and alert to a low rumble that passes through the ground. Speaking of, that's probably him. Tav leads us off the beaten path into the tree line, and I struggle to keep up with him. Hey, slow down a sec. Either he doesn't hear me or is messing with me on purpose as he forces on ahead anyway. His lithe little body is able to weave through the greenery at a pace I struggle to match. I wave out I wave out breath and sputtering as I sew away the remnants of vegetation that cling to me when I finally catch up with a smaller grow. He stands in a small clearing now. It's now clearing near a stagnant pond, brow furrowed as he gazes at a tangled mass of plant debris accumulated in what appears to be a natural deadfall ahead. Why is he here? Before I have time enough to catch my breath, and that's what he means, I'm startled by the sight of a canteen flying through the air. Several wooden bowls and sweated sackcloth bags soon follow it, being tossed haphazardly by whatever currently occupies the dim hollow beneath that deadfall. Tom marches towards it, raises his voice. Hey, drop it, leave it. He sounds like he's lecturing a misbehaving animal. I force myself to follow after my deep breaths to regain my stamina to confront me with an incredibly powerful scent. It's something I've been picking up hints of on the way here, but now I recognize it's most certainly another no. Presumably it's Oba's kid. Now I wonder if Todd's been following that scent to guide us here. Here's some back and forth between Tay and another deeper voice as I spot the frame of a larger no standing over him, casting the shadows of the deadfall. Tal seems to have pushed him aside, leaving him to watch as Tal starts struggling to repackage a catch of wicker baskets stashed there. I take a few deep breaths to let that new smell wash over me. These scents seem to be less distracting once I fully process them. That's probably why I haven't really noticed my own scent much, save for a few stray vapors when I reached my arms up to grab those fruits earlier. Closing my eyes to focus, it definitely smells like another no, but this one has such a powerful core moss that the other scents clinging to it can do little to disguise it. The potent earthy aroma almost feels like I'm choking on mud, but there are strange notes to it that I find tantalizing. Salt and sweat layer on top and to render it sharp and ripe. I get the feeling anyone can smell this guy coming, not just other notes. I open my eyes when I hear that larger note, responding to top in a tone that carries much of the same gravel that Opa's did, but in a younger, greasy timbre. Guess some critters got at it while we were gone. I was just gonna bring the good bits back for you. They're all good bits. The big guy scratches his head and oddly turns, ears lifting in intrigue as he spots me. Holy shit, he's up. What? No. That's a demon. Tom reaches out to stop the bigger no that's marching eagerly towards me, but gets his arm tangled in the straps attached to one of the baskets and ends up buried beneath it as its contents overturn and spill out over him. As he steps out into the sunlight, I get a better look at the no, and I'm a bit surprised by what I see. That voice definitely sounds masculine, and a saggily bearded face sure seems to match it. But the shape of that body, though heavily set with a bit of added weight and muscle, is undoubtedly stacked in another direction. And as the golden fur no approaches, I can confirm with confidence that he's the source of that powerful smell. Demon, huh? I always wanted to scrap with one. I shake my head to try to refocus, raising my paws out and up to signal I don't want to fight. He lets out a gleeful cackle and doubles his approach, reaching me faster than I expect given his heavy gait, and beating my paws with his own interlocking fingers to initiate a grapple. But before I can offer any resistance, I feel the clutch of that damn collar sap the life from me again, leaving me to crumple forwards at his feet from that momentary clasp. Face down to the mud. Did I break it? Taft manages to free himself from beneath the toppled baggage to come to my rescue. He's got a demon collar on. He can't hurt anyone. The big galoot looks mortified. Not even fun. Cal sighs and unwinds his cord in a bit to give me some slack. As I sputter at gas for air, pushing myself up onto my hands and knees, Ty groans and retreats to the deadfall again. Get him washed up. I'll handle the damn luggage. Once I wipe the mud out of my eyes, I can see the bigger nose squatted down and extending a paw to help me up. I go ahead and take it, though as I do, I worry he's just going to take advantage of the grip to paralyze me again. He doesn't though. He helps me up to my feet and gets me steady, leaning in to sniff at me before introducing himself. I'm Sticky. I'm not sure if that's his name or a statement on his personal hygiene. Honestly, it seems like both. Hi. I hesitate, thrown off by that strange introduction and his continued invasion of my personal space. It takes me a moment to register I should offer my name in return. I'm Plover. Are you about done? He holds his wandering sniffer to look up at me, smiling as he realizes what I'm talking about. At the same time, I spot Tal's ears perk up a reaction to my name, causing him to turn and take a long, hard squint at me before returning to his work with a dismissive head shake. Oh, sorry. Just never smelled a demon before. I expected. Brimstone? Yeah, I get that a lot. Well, let's get you washed up, then. At least a little. He guides me excitedly by the paw over to a small pond nearby. Looking up his arm, I can see he's got a good mix of muscle and fat on his frame. He's almost as big as me, even though still a good head sorta overall. I kneel at the edge of the pond as he takes the opportunity to look me over from a few different angles. No horns, barb tail, big old bat wings. Dang, guess the stories were full of shit. I sighed and leaned forward to dunk my head in the water and scrub a bit, paused reflexively, pulling back to comb through my thick, saggy mane. As I come back up, I pause when I notice my reflection for the first time, carefully studying my own appearance. The no looking back at me has kind of a dumb face, to be honest. If he were part of a bigger group, I'd expect him to be the big goofy one that ends up above their jokes. My pulse reaches up to feel at that face as if to verify it's real. The nostrils flare a bit as I think about the big black nose in the center. My fingers run through the saggy, unkempt fur on his jawline that trails back into my mane. Overall, I'd say Gas was pretty handsome in a lovable oath kind of way. Honestly, he might have even been my type. But those timid, anxious eyes don't fit him. Those are mine. While they might lend him a bit of a puppy-like innocence, my uncertainty makes him tremble with weakness. I bet the others can tell from my gaze alone that I'm not him. And whilst from my fixation by a foot paw poking at my ribs. Demon dick, huh? All bald and veiny. No. To be honest, I haven't checked, but I feel confident I do not have a demon dick. Fairly confident. He snickers, cackles, and reaches down to help me up again. His playful whipping, though a bit invasive, is kind of refreshing compared to Tyler's downward animosity. I look back to the deadfall where I can still hear the little guy scrounging around. You think he needs help in there? Probably. But I just get in the way again. Don't know what half of that stuff is. I take a closer look at the deadfall, wondering if this is some kind of weird forest stairs hidden away out here. What is this place anyway? Oh, it's where I found you two the other day. Found us. Yeah, after you pass out in the womb wound, in the womb wood, he managed to drag you in the hall far as he could, but I could tell he was at his limit. Every answer just raises more questions. What the hell is a wormwood? He gestures past a pond, opposite of the way we came. The forests were skirting around. It's all spooky in there. Spooky? Yeah, like everyone's dead and I want to go home spooky. Alright, real spooky then. It is. We're still on the edge of We're still on the edge of it here, though the real nasty critters don't wander this far out. Keep the Imperials away though, so it's good for that at least. Frustrated cursing cuts through our little chat as Tav continues his labors. I better give him a hand. I try to excuse myself from the conversation. Sticky gives me an encouraging strut on the one before I go, offer a grin and a pair of thumbs up as I yipe and turn back. You can do it. But there it is. I grumble a half-hearted thanks for the encouragement and turn back to resume my approach. Inside the cave-like pocket created beneath the fallen voice recitations, I see all manner of household goods tumble out on the ground. Tav squats low, meticulously sorting and repacking them back into the covered wicker baskets they came from. I recognize this place from my dream where Tav tended to me. And that's when it really sets in. It wasn't me he was doing all that for. I looked down over him, biting my lip as I reevaluate that tender, vulnerable moment we shared. It wasn't earned, as I stole it. Gas didn't even get to say goodbye, did he? He didn't get to hear Tav's feelings at the end. I start to feel dizzy, bracing myself against the mouth of the deadfall. Tav looks up at me, but I know an expression that demands I explain myself. I don't know what to say. I'm such an idiot. It feels like the walls are closing in around me, like the musty roots of this dreary deadfall are crushing the stale air from my very lungs. At least make yourself useful. His voice cuts to me as I find myself gasping for breath, earning another incredulous stare for the smaller no. He's still convinced I'm trying to trick him somehow. The big scary demon just waiting for him to drop his guard. At least I can breathe again. He shakes his head and pushes one of the filled baskets over towards me. I can tell it's heavy from how much he strains to move it, but when I reach out to lift the strap, I find it effortless to heft it over my shoulder. He finishes packing up the other one and pushes it back for me to load up with before securing the last few items in a satchel that he keeps to himself. He looks through it to verify its contents briefly, sighing in relief as he finishes. What's in there? The most important cargo. He keeps his explanation brief and frustratingly vague, but my gormless expression seems to pressure an answer out of him. That is okay. We're the only means of communication between the Shadow Tusk and the Gnolls still trapped in the Empire. I can tell my look of absentia speaks volumes of my comprehension, prompting another frustrated groan from the little Gnoll. Look, I can't babysit you and explain the whole world to you. He reaches into his pack and finishes out that journal he was writing in before. Here, you can hold on to this until we get back to the village. Maybe reading that will help you understand the world of the living. You can read, can't you? Of course I can read. I really hope I can read. Once we got everything loaded up, we head back towards Opal's hut with Stinky in tow. I briefly wonder why Stinky isn't helping to carry anything, but surprisingly the cargo isn't much of a burden at all for me. This body really is pretty burly. Having Stinky along for the walk back really does liven the mood, keeping the atmosphere light with casual banter and mercifully actually answering my questions. He's kind of a lot at first, but I find that he's starting to grow on me now that I'm used to the smell. From the way he tells it, this wormwood is a country-sized blight on the land that the otherwise unflappable Imperials won't touch with a 10-mile pole. It takes months to circumnavigate safely, and pretty much all that's on the far side paths here is dust and desert, so they have no reason to bother with it. But they can take their empire and shove it under their tail. He makes a crude gesture to demonstrate the analogy. Surprisingly, even Tao's mood has improved enough for a bit of sarcasm. Careful, they say the Emperor heals all. If he's so almighty, let him strike me down. As if the forest itself has an ear for committed timing, the Gnoll manages to step on and loudly snap a twig beneath him just after his proclamation. This causes a decidedly undignified yelp to escape him as he's startled into a nearby bush. Tao can't help but laugh at the buffoonish display, and I'm inclined to join him, feeling relieved to see him at least a little less grim now. A pair of brown-soaked paws emerge from the bush, pumping upwards victoriously. Still alive. Suck it, Emperor. We reconvene back at Ober's place, rousing him from a nap I don't think he intended to take. Mercifully, he's actually dressed this time. Sticky tends to him while Tao inspects the cargo briefly to make sure I didn't break anything. As Tao starts to take stock of our inventory, I get a bit distracted from the inspection when my ears tune in. When my ears tune me into the other noses' conversation in progress. We get to go with them, really. Sticky's tail is practically wagging like a pup's. Obo circles softly and does his best to settle the boy. Aye, lad. Your gate's nice and empty, right? Aye, yep. Every last drop. So I should be good for a few days at least. And we can see him this time, right? I realize my ears have physically swiveled around to listen to their conversation, which is probably pretty noticeable and pretty rude. So I shake my head and try to focus on Tav instead. The smaller Gnoll seals his eyes as he looks skyward. Should be enough daylight left to make it there before dark if we hustle. Hopefully, I won't slow you down too much. If you get tired, I can always pick it back here. I have half a mind to offer the same, but I realize that would be a bit awkward with me already handling the cargo. There's still enough life in these old bones of mine to make it to the village. Our journey is pretty quiet for the most part, with only occasional color commentary from Sticky to punctuate the sounds of nature as he gets distracted by something or other to scavenge and mudds on. Plus a few pee breaks. A lot of them actually. Sticky insists that the highest mark on a tree means you own it. I can see all ownership claims. As we get further from the lush vegetation of the forest outskirts, I can't help but ask what's on my mind. Why is the village so far from the forest? It looks pretty dead out here. The further from the empire, the better. And while there isn't much game, we honestly don't need much to survive. Whereas there's resources, there's competition. I guess that makes sense, but it still feels weird being so disconnected from the rest of the world. Ooh, tell him about the canyon. We're almost there. He can see it for himself. And indeed, peering forward, I'm able to spot what they're referring to. Ahead, the hills drive up into a sharp rise that wraps as far as the eye can see in either direction. You'd be hard-pressed to mount it even with proper climbing gear. But dead ahead of us, a glimmering crevice splits the the pass into a slender canyon. It would be pretty hard to find if you didn't have someone to guide you to it. Only way to get to the village, lest you go through the flats on the other side. As we get closer, my nose gives me an indication of what's so special about the place. There's an acrid, malodorous aroma like rotten eggs and salt that seems to seep from the canyon itself. I hear Sticky take a deep breath, sighing and letting his tongue hang out as he samples the scent. Brimstone. It's the basalt barrier, our last line of defense against the Imperials. The fumes make them sick. Based on what I'm smelling, I can relate. I don't feel like I'm going to wets or anything, though. Must be that gift Taff mentioned. Opal smiles and pats my tummy. But nose are made of sterner stuff, huh? I try and offer him a smile and thanks for his reassurance, but my heart isn't in it. Even though the canyon walls are wide enough apart to pass through easily, somehow they feel too close for comfort. The strange hexagonal columns that make up the canyon catch my eye. They jut up sharply to form the canyon walls on either side. They must be some sort of bizarre natural formation, providing uneven steps for us to tread across. For some reason, I just can't shake the feeling that those walls are going to collapse in around me at any moment. I try to focus on just moving forward, ignoring the unease rising in my chest. I ignore the tremor in my legs that makes it difficult to walk. I ignore my ragged, ill-paced breathing, which only further overwhelms me with that sulphurous stench. Tal looks over his shoulder and notices me falling behind. He moves to tap at the least wound around his wrist to encourage me to catch up. But he stops when he catches sight of my face. I don't know what he sees there, but it's enough. He backtracks a bit and places his paws on my shoulders, settling my breathing. Come on, Plover, we're burning daylight. It's not exactly the most gentle guidance he could offer, but it's the first time he's called me by my name. Even that little nudge helps me push through. He takes me by the palm more gently than I expect. He gives it a soft squeeze, and I squeeze back. I can't see his face as he walks on ahead, but I hope he's not too upset with me. I wish I wasn't such a burden. Here I am, the person he hates most in the world, the one who took gas away from him, helpless as a babe and dragging down everyone around me. I just want to get this over with. As we break through to the other side of the canyon, and the noxious reek of brimstone begins to abate, I see the trio I'm traveling with bathed in the trillet hues of the golden hour. Sticking bounces from foot to foot as he eagerly points out the village outskirts of the distance. Opal chuckles and reminisces about soup, but Tal still has that distant look. The village up ahead, that's where we're all in things. Part of me wants to stay here with them. But that's just selfish to me, isn't it? I'm such an idiot. The others start making their way down into the village proper. The day's journey finally at an end. I'm not ready for this to end. Okay, so that was chapter 1 of Gnoll Way Home. So apparently, Gas was the original person in this body, and I wonder if maybe the person we're playing through really is gas, but that he has amnesia, or maybe somewhere in this body is gas, but this person we're playing is kind of like the dominant person inside this body, like the soul and stuff like that. Like maybe somewhere in this body, his friend, what's his name? I forgot his name, but maybe somewhere inside this gas is somewhere in the body, but this person we're playing through is the one that kind of has control of the body. Because we see, what's his name? I forgot his name again. He is very traumatized. He's screaming and just begging his friend not to die, and then I guess what happens that Opa did something to keep this person alive, but I don't know. But it seems like the body itself is alive, and maybe gas is somewhere in this body, but we're playing somebody else who's also in this body. But again, maybe it could also be that this person we're playing is gas technically, but he kind of has amnesia. He's not his when he kind of lost his personality. He doesn't have memories and stuff like that. And somehow, what's his name? I don't remember. Doesn't recognize him somehow, or maybe does recognize him, but he thinks that he's a demon now, and that he can't. And because he thinks he's a demon, that I don't know, maybe he probably thinks that his friend is dead now, and that we're a demon now. So it's a little confusing to me, but I think that's kind of like, could be kind of like how it is. So let's see what his name is real quick. His name is Taff. Alright, so towards the end, he started to become more sadder, at the very end here. And I don't know, maybe he thinks, starting to think that maybe we're not a demon after all, and that maybe we are gas. I don't know, but he's starting to be a little bit sad at the end. So I like Stinky. He's a very optimistic and social guy. As soon as that Plover, is the person I'm calling the MC, well, that's the name I'm giving the MC anyway. So, I mean, you want to call him whatever you want, you can, but since we don't get the option of having a standard name, I'm just going to have to call him Plover. But anyway, it's like Plover, the MC, is starting to like him. It's starting to like Stinky. Since he's very sociable. It's very social. So anyway, I mean, he's very optimistic. He likes to talk, and he does have conversations with you, while Tav is very cold towards Plover because he thinks he's a demon. And so in that, there's some kind of leash on Plover's neck that keeps him from lasting out and trying to destroy everybody and everything. So, and Opal seems nice also. So apparently there's some kind of tension between the Gnolls and this Empire. I don't know. The Empire looks down on the Gnolls, so the Gnolls, I think, prefer to stay as far away from the Empire as possible. Though there are still some Gnolls that are in the Empire, so we'll probably get to see that eventually. Alright, so whenever a new update of this comes out, I'll have a video out for it, so thank you all very much for watching. Bye.